Okay, ladies and gentlemen, first I want to say it is amazing. This is a miracle that I have my man online right now because he's such a busy guy and we've been missing each other. But Marty, I am glad you are with us today in the hot Australia because it's summertime, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so describe that to me because, I'm from the U.S. I've never been to Australia. So right now here it's probably about 38 degrees in Washington State. What is the temperature there?
Well, we work in degrees, so it's roughly around 45 degrees. We actually had in Sydney, they had one of the world's hottest days yesterday.
Wow. That sounds like Arizona in the US.
Yeah.
So did you go outside? Did you
Well, I was in Brisbane, so I'm in Brisbane, but because I'm in, we're in the second week of 2018. My mindset, I think I only left the house to go to the gym, and besides that, I was behind the computer. I'm really focused at the moment and really going after it this January. So I didn't actually go outside too much.
Well, see, you're allowed to do that, and we're going to get into that today because a lot of people have to go to a job. They have to commute into work to make money, but you can literally hyper-focus in your home and make money. But we're going to talk about that today. But Marty, right now, I'm going to tell everyone how I came in contact with you. I saw you're basically a mover and shaker online on Facebook. I saw you in pictures with Gary Vee. You're doing your e-commerce. You're all over the place. You've been in different countries across the world. I even saw you. You were smoking a cigar, and I was like, where is he at? And I think you were in the Philippines, right? Like, I smoke a cigar every now and then, but to go to the Philippines and smoke a cigar with my buddy, like, that's powerful. So we're going to talk about these things because I think what you're doing is amazing, by the way. But it didn't all start right there, right? The young Marty, the guy who was coming up as a little kid and trying to figure things out. Let's start there. What was life for you? What was life like when you were young? Let's say between the ages of 5 and 10. Like what was life like?
Well, so my mother had me at 16.
Mm-hmm.
My dad left when I was 1. So essentially we had, a 16-year-old young lady trying to raise me being a kid. So we had a kid raising a kid. And my mum, God bless her, she's very close to me to this day. She did the best she could, but at times it was very tough for us. There wasn't, I recall, taking stale food to school. I was always known as the poor kid in school. I used to get teased a lot. A lot of times I couldn't afford to have a haircut, so I couldn't afford to get the latest Nikes. However, my mum always supported me, always gave me love, always unconditional love, and was always being my best friend. However, I wasn't really good at school, maths and English. I was good at sport. That was one thing I was good at, which was, football, and I guess I always had heart.
Yeah.
And when I was 10 and, things got really bad in my home life, my mum was facing, some internal battles. She was going through quite a lot. And, but this was a blessing because what this enabled me to do, I would go to the local golf course.
Mm-hmm.
I would go find lost golf balls. Okay. I would then take them home, bleach them and clean them and get my product ready. I would then go back to the golf course the next day, set up a stand and then sell those golf balls for $3, $4, making up to $50 to $100 a day as a 10-year-old.
Wow.
And mind you, I had no food in the fridge at home, right? I had never for me, having ice cream was like a real big blessing. Like that was I would buy myself an ice cream on the way home as a reward, and I learned to earn that.
Marty, hold on. Who told you that? Who taught you that? Where did you learn? Where did you get that idea from about selling golf balls?
Man, to be honest, I really don't know. I get goosebumps, man, even just recalling it, to be honest with you. I don't talk about it too often, but I'm getting goosebumps. But I don't know if it was a survival thing. I don't know if it was, God or, an intuition thing.
Wow.
Going back then, I really don't know, man. But it's been the fundamental of my story, man. So,
Wow.
yeah.
And how much would you make on an average?
Like 60, like I was making, and this is, I was 10 years, this was a quite a few years ago, man, like, cause I'm 30 now. So
Yeah.
this was pretty good money. And the thing was, it was all profit because I was getting the product at $0. All it was costing me was time.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. So when the money would come in and you were 10 years old, what would you do with this money?
Okay. If I'm being honest, most of the time I'd buy the ice cream on the way home, on the walk home, and I'd reward myself. I started to save it. So I started to save this money at home. However, my stepdad stole the money to go buy drugs. He took it all.
Wow. So the environment that you were in wasn't the greatest. Like, you had a single mom, but now stepdad has a drug problem, and he sees a young kid making money. So he's like, how can I benefit from the drugs? And he's like, he's stealing the money.
Well, yeah, if I'm being honest, so, I didn't have the money too well hidden in my room. And I just came home one day and it was gone. And, the drugs that was being used, it wasn't weed or anything like that. It was quite heavy drugs, it wasn't the stuff that would make you do something like that. And also I would come home and a lot of our electronics would be taken to the pawn shop as well. So like, man, we did it. But, looking back on it, man, is, I noticed people have had it much worse than what I've ever had. And dude, it's given me this drive and this ambition. And, so it's really, dude, it's created my story. So.
Well, okay. So what is your feeling like at this time? Are you like pissed off, or you like, man, this is making me feel bad, or do you have drive? What is your feeling?
Man, I think it was more just kind of wanting answers, or a bit like shocked, and I guess kind of more shocked. But it was more like, oh, we had to borrow, but we're going to pay it back. And like, it was kind of positioned to me and in such a way, look, sorry, we had to borrow it, but we're going to give it back to you, we promise. And this is when the snapback pants were out, like Adidas and Nike were bringing out. And man, I really, really wanted a pair of them. So I was told that I would get, but the thing was, when I got my pair, I got like the cheap $10, $15 pair, and I wanted the Adidas or Nike.
Wow. Okay. But one thing I noticed about an entrepreneur and a young entrepreneur is that, what did you do after the golf course? Because I know you didn't do that forever. What did you create after that as a kid? Well,
so in primary school, I was actually reflecting on this the other day, was, when there was a school fair, but I was the guy when, Sony PlayStation was out, I was going home, burning games, taking them to school and selling them. I was setting up stores when we had like a craft day, and I was going buying Red Bulls 2 for $3 and then selling them for $5 each.
Wow, you were flipping everything. Except the illegal stuff. So that's good.
Wow. It's actually good to talk about this, man. But it's actually, I forgot some of this stuff. But because looking back on it, it's like, okay, so this is where I am now. But this has been going on for quite a long time in terms of the selling part.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay, so golf course, burning games. How old are you when you're burning the games? How old?
So now we're in high school. So this is like grade 8. So it would have been around 12 or so.
12. And I want to say something as an observation. I notice when I talk to other people about football from other countries, they'll say something like, I say, oh, I watch football. And they'll say something, oh, you're watching American football. So they're not talking about like when you say football, are you talking about soccer, or are you talking about actually American football?
I'm actually talking about like rugby.
See, I can see that. I can see that toughness in your face here. I can see you doing it. Okay.
Yeah. So that was my goals and aspirations. So I'm in high school. I was getting suspended a lot from school. Really good at sport, failing every other subject, maths, English. I was even failing cooking, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
But the desire, I ran cross country. I played rugby league for my school. I played rugby league for my club. You know, I was very active in that sporting. I was very, very, you know, sport orientated and very team orientated.
Yeah.
And then I was actually, sorry?
No, finish that thought.
And then I was actually, just to finish on this, so my prime minister, not prime minister, my the vice principal of my school, seen something in me, and she actually nominated me for a boys on track thing. So it was all the naughty kids from the school on the Gold Coast went away on this camp that were trained by these army Christian guys. So they're ex-army soldiers, but have now kind of gone Christian, and I won some award there and ended up kind of getting some guidance. And so there was people that kind of helped kind of guide me along the way. They could see that there was obviously trouble at home. I had a lot of anger, but they could see that there was something, you know, that I had this potential teamwork and I liked playing sport. And so, yeah.
You know, you took a picture with a gentleman by the name of Gary Vee.
Yeah.
And if you listen to Gary Vee's story, which I know you have, you know, he talks about his 1.8 GPA. He wasn't great in school. And I noticed this rings true with a lot of entrepreneurs. Like, you know, this whole ADHD thing, like, you know, because a lot of people think, oh, if you don't get good grades in school, you're not going to make it. But really, most of the people that I've interviewed, they do horrible in school, but they succeed outside of school. And I see that trait in you. So now I'm going to get you to think about something that maybe you've thought about before. Now, your dad, your biological dad, did you know what he did for a living?
I do now, and I didn't as such at that point in the timeline, but I found out a few years later, and he's from a sales background and entrepreneurial background. However, he's not a successful entrepreneur. He's, you know, but he has that sales tendency, and that's what his desires were, I believe. Yeah.
I think your environment being as rough as it was actually created the toughness inside of you now. I honestly do it, because I see when you talk, you're not just saying like, oh, I have a business. You're passionate about this business. Like, this business is on the rugby field with you kind of thing. You know, that's what I see. So, okay. So you're out here selling, you're flipping things. You know how that works. What's next? Like what happens? Is there anything in between that point and where you are now that sticks out that worked? Like this is the lane I want to go in.
Yeah, well, so I finished grade 12, failed pretty much everything. Went into a door-to-door sales career, commission only.
Oh, like did you do the vacuum cleaners?
No, I was actually doing telecommunications. So I was knocking on the door and had the pitch, man. And this is when, you know, we learned sales is a numbers game, because we know by average we have to knock on 100 doors to get our 10 sales, our 5 sales, and it's commission only. But the key was, when you don't make your 5 sales or 7 sales by the end of the day, and you know you've already knocked on 90 doors or 95 doors, the hardest thing is to maintain that positive attitude for every single door that you knock on.
Okay.
Because if your energy levels are down and your pitch is down, because you don't know, you could get your last sales on those 5 last doors that you're knocking on, but if your energy levels are down and your pitch is off, you're not going to convert them.
Exactly. Oh, I like the word convert. Okay, so you made sure that your energy level was up with your last doors that you were knocking on.
Because it's a numbers game, and we know if we knock on 100 doors, that the system tells us that we're going to get our conversions. You know, however, sometimes you'd get your sales on the first 20 doors or your first 5, and then sometimes you're coming up to your 90th door, and it's because in Australia we're allowed to legally knock on doors till 8 p.m. at night.
Yeah.
But this is so it's coming at 7:30. You've made no money. It's commission only job. Mind you, I'm trying to take care of my mother. I'm 18 years of age, living, you know, she was not, like me and her were trying to get our rent together, and we're struggling all the time. So I'm knocking on these doors like my life depends on it. And but to me,
No, finish that thought.
But that was the hardest thing, is because you've been out there in the street for 12 hours a day, and to knock on that door and you've made no money, but knowing that you've got to bring that pitch exactly the same as what you did for the first door, that's where the challenge is.
You know, so I take it the stepdad's still around at this time, at this age that you're knocking on the doors.
He'd actually left at that stage. So just to finish off that story, so what ended up happening at that point when all the money was taken, all that, my grandparents actually intervened. They came down and they put him in rehab and said, look, your mum, my stepdad are coming to live with us. This shit's going to stop. So I actually went to live with my grandparents.
Wow.
And then, yeah.
But see, you're making a good amount of coin. You're making some money. So I know that you're looking out for your mom, but they must be blowing through a lot of money with the drug use. Because even when you were on a golf course, you were still making some decent money. I would say it looks like you were making more money than a person that probably would have a job.
Well, yeah, definitely. And we were in government assistant housing as well. I forgot to mention that. So we were in like a housing kind of commission, you know. So it was our rent was very cheap kind of thing. But yeah.
Wow. So grandparents stepped in and said, okay, enough with this. You know, he's going rehab. We want to take care of the mom. We want to make sure that Marty's growing up good. So what was life when grandparents came in? Were they like, you need to get your grades up, or they just like, keep doing what you're doing?
No, because my granddad used to be in the army, and I actually went and seen him on the weekend. I'm still very close with them. They're really cool. Yeah. So they actually started, you know, spoiling me a little bit. I started getting a bit of Nike on my head, you know, got a few Nike things, started balling out a little bit. Made sure I had to go to school every day. When I got suspended, they'd be very upset and very angry at me. They actually bought me my first 2-pack CD when I was 12.
What? Grandparents bought it? Yeah. They didn't hit you with like, oh, that 2-pack is dangerous. You're gonna.
And that's when Eminem came onto the scene. But that's where things really got inspired for me. You know, when Eminem came out onto the scene and 2-pack. But sorry. So yeah, they provided a family safe structure for me. A very nice house, always food in the cupboard. Both hard workers, clean house, school uniforms, and really kind of put me on the right path.
So are you still making money now? Or they're like, look, cut this hustle stuff out. Let's focus on school. Like what goes on there?
Well, man, so this is why I'm in high school and I'm flipping the CDs and I'm doing, but I also started delivering newspapers so I was getting about 5 cents or 10 cents for every paper delivery. Yeah. Mind you, I can't take all the credit because my granddad ended up doing a lot of the work with me delivering the paper. But yeah, so I had the paper route, and man, so they've always instilled that into me. Yeah.
So at this time, even before you knew what entrepreneurship was, you probably can't be thinking about a job. You're like, look, I'm making money out here hustling. Like the whole job thing probably doesn't motivate you at this point.
Nah, not really. Hey, and even when I went to work at, you know, like Burger King, or in Australia we call it Hungry Jack's, you know, like, and even at school, man, like I just naturally wasn't interested in learning science or maths. Like it's just something, like I just literally had no interest in it. Like I literally could not pay attention because I just, like with entrepreneurship and this, I'm naturally or genuinely very interested in, you know, building something. It's what I'm very passionate about. When it comes to school, the passion wasn't there. It was for sport, but not math, science, and all the other subjects.
So, interesting. You can't be, like, I know me. I kind of did something similar to you. I did the, you know, mowing some yards and picking pecans and cans and just all different types of stuff. But you probably weren't the teenager that say, hey, Mom, can I borrow a couple bucks? You probably had money as a teenager. I would assume.
Yeah, that's correct. And, you know, and my grandparents, we went overseas to Bali together, and I was saving up for international trip, and they made me save for that. And so, man, I was very blessed. You know, my grandparents, you know, they took me overseas to Bali, and we'd go away. And, you know, but mind you, when I was living there, not that they forced me to have a job, but I wanted to have some kind of, you know, they taught me, you know, you need to have some kind of income. You need to start saving for this Bali trip. You know, if you want to do this, you need to put in work, you know. If you want to go overseas, you have to earn it kind of thing. So
So they didn't buy the trip like, hey, we're going to go to Bali and you wake up and grandparents paid for the ticket. They didn't do that.
No. And we had to save up for a year as well, man. Like, like it wasn't like, like I literally had a coin saving thing, man. And I put my coins in it and we're all contributing and, you know, so man, the trip wasn't,
So looking back at that lifestyle, you got to see how that helped you become the guy you are today.
It's good to speak about this, man, because because it's obviously now that a lot of time's gone, but looking back on it, man, for sure. And, you know, spending time with them on the weekend and going there and, you know, being able to, you know, take them out for a really nice lunch. And we took them to a really nice place and we got cheese and we had coffees and that, you know, and that was really good, you know, and I really think if it wasn't for them, man, I don't know where I would have been, dude, to be honest, man. I think they thought I probably would have ended up in jail, man. A lot of the people I was hanging out with, you know, I've gone to prison, a lot of caught up in a lot of drugs. You know, I was hanging around some pretty bad people. Mm-hmm. So it's a blessing, dude. And I don't know where I would have been, man, if they wouldn't have got me from Sydney that time, to be honest.
Okay. Well, let me ask you a question. What would you consider your job is today? What would you, if you had a title to call yourself today, what would it just be, entrepreneur, or what would it be?
Man, look, I know it's a bit cliche and a lot of people are using that word. Mm-hmm. However, that word is very close to my heart. And as you can see, because of my story and entrepreneur to me is, you know, about creating opportunity when one isn't around and about building something, you know, creating. So it's the word. So that's the word that I use, but I also use, you know, I'm also a founder. You know, I've created two different clothing brands. You know, these brands started off as an idea in my head and, you know, I've built them into, you know, I've built my own company with my own stuff. So I also consider myself as an actual practitioner of someone who builds businesses. You know, I'm actually building with physical products and everything I sell is manufactured by me as well. So it's direct from the factory. I don't resell any other people's brands. Everything is my own product. Wow.
But you don't do the shipping. You just make sure that the idea, the concept is you.
I used to do shipping in-house, but now I have a third-party logistics system down in Sydney. And there's this is one of the largest warehouses in Australia, and they handle all our logistics at the moment. However, I'm looking to potentially bring that back in-house and really expand my team because I've got a big mission of what I want to do in the next kind of 5-10 years. And so I'm potentially looking to bring one of those brands back in-house.
You know, Marty, I'm going to say, you're doing that now, but really, you've been doing this since you've been a little chap. You've been doing this as a kid. You're basically still expanding since you were just a little kid because it was in your blood.
Yeah.
You know? So you're traveling, you're doing different things, you're creating brands. Is there anything else that you're doing that's out there? Are you creating digital products? Are you doing anything like that?
No, look, it's, you know, I'm building my Dream Chasers group. So that's which you're a part of, you know, my inner circle. That's more of a passion project. You know, I'm helping some younger kids in there, and I really want to give back to kids who were like me at 10 years of age. That's a big part of my mission. That's the contribution, man, where I want to give back to kids who are affected by, you know, parents on drugs or alcohol. Yeah. I'm a massive advocate of mental toughness, getting the mindset right, you know, and I'm in the gym. The first hour, 2 hours of every day is for me, you know, getting my mindset right. You know, gym, I'm pushing myself in the gym, affirmations, meditation, goal setting. You know, I'm really big because if anybody wants to grow, you know, it starts in the mindset first, I believe.
Wow. Now explain to me, why is mental toughness so important?
Well, sorry, I just want to go back a step. So I was actually, when I was 23, I built a very promising sales career. So I was actually employed at this stage, but I was still very lost in life. You know, I got caught up with, you know, a lot of alcohol and
Oh.
So I ended up going through this really rough patch myself. But then I ended up joining the military. I went away to the army for 4 years.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You were kind of following in your grandfather's footsteps.
Correct. A big part of why I wanted to do that was because he'd given me so much. Mm-hmm. And I really wanted to keep the legacy going in our name. And I was really kind of looking to get that direction back in my life.
Yeah.
And what the massive thing is, it brought back out because I'd lost my spirit. I'd lost my heart a little bit because I got caught up in the alcohol and with the wrong people. But the army brought all that leadership, all that original stuff. It all kind of come back out.
Yeah. 4 years. I would imagine, and I know that Australia probably has this, you probably were like special ops or infantry or something like that.
I was infantry, yeah.
I gotta figure that.
Yeah.
Did you have to go to any deployments or anything?
I went to Malaysia, Singapore. We went to Thailand. I went to Hawaii. I was potentially going to go to Afghanistan, mm-hmm. but this is when I started to build mate status on the side.
Mm.
So
while you were in the army?
So this is how I started.
Wow. So wow. Finish the thought.
So not to get the timeline. So I'm 22, 23. I'm the national advertising manager. I'm dealing with multi-million-dollar brands, working in media, not digital media. It was print media. Mm-hmm. However, I wanted more. I knew, I've always had this empty feeling in my stomach that I'm not living up to my potential, or I'm capable of more, that I'm selling myself short. I'm going through life with always this bit of emptiness in my soul. Mm-hmm. I joined the army. I had the idea for mate status, right? So I've come up with the idea because I'm working for this media company. I'm the number one salesman. I'm the national advertising manager. I feel empty inside. I know I want more. So I get the idea to start my own brand called Mate Status. The seed was planted.
Wow.
Because like you're saying, man, you can't, because I've got this natural entrepreneurial, I'm like, man, I want to create my own thing. Because I was dealing with some very big fashion brands that were turning over, 20, 30 million, and I would try and call the CEO of this company or companies. They would be in America, they would be in the Philippines, they'd be in China, trying to get a hold of it. And I'm like, man, these guys are living the dream, man. This is the dream, to do this. And it was like, wow, this is how these guys live. Mm-hmm. Because I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I'm hanging out with a bunch of losers. I'm not really that happy. I'm drinking every weekend. And that's where the seed was planted. I'm like, however, I don't have any capital, because I started ringing up to get some quotes to print some shirts.
Yeah.
I've got no money. I've got no money to my name.
And you're in the military at this time also?
No. This is just before I joined.
Just before you joined. Wow. Okay.
So I've got the idea to start Mate Status.
Yep.
I pay $200 to design the logo. I get some prices to print the first 15 shirts, but I don't have any money. Yeah. And I'm lost. So I'm like, I'm going to join the army. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go there, get some structure, get some discipline. I'm going to make my granddad proud of it. I'm going to save up some capital, and I'm going to get this thing started.
Yeah.
And off I go to basic training.
Wow. And you're not reading any book. This is just all here. I feel like I'm not giving my all. I want to go after this. I'm just going to try it. There's nobody saying, no, stop. Don't do it. Nobody like that.
Man, I had no one guiding me, man, to be honest. I had no one really, because no one around me was really going after anything at that point in time. This was all internally, more in my gut. Mm-hmm. It was, my gut, man. And I always kind of felt like that there was, that I was selling myself short.
Wow. I like what you said about your gut.
Yeah.
It's almost like the universe is telling you, hey, go that way. Go that way.
Yeah. And I make a lot of my decisions based off intuition. I'm very, very big on it to this day.
Marty, man, when I was in the military, I think that's what helped me start to travel book. Because I've been to Thailand. I've been to a few places. But I remember when I was sitting at a breakfast table, and I was like, I want to travel the world, but without the whole military umbrella. And then since then, I've been starting. So it seemed like it started that travel bug for you also in the military.
Yeah, and that was the thing, dude, because before going to the only place I'd been was Bali when I was 12 with my grandparents. So I'd never been overseas. So I'm 23 now at this stage. So I hadn't been overseas in that gap.
Yep.
But like you, man, I also kind of thought, this is a way I could potentially travel, because I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I'm 4 weeks behind in my rent. I'm about to be evicted. Me and my mum are living together, but we're fighting every day over stress because we don't have any money. I'm 23. I'm drinking every weekend, and every Monday morning waking up depressed. And
Wow.
yeah, and I'm literally laying on my bed, and I used to watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Don't hold that against me.
Not holding against you. Everybody watches that, by the way.
But you know what it gave me, man? Do you know what it gave me? It gave me escapism because I hated my own life that much, man. Because I'd watch this abundance. I'd watch these guys and I'd see this abundance, dude. And I used to escape from my own life and live my life and see these guys self-employed, working from home on a laptop. I'm like, wow, how do you get to that position?
Yeah.
I'm watching The Hills when Spencer, he used to work, and I'm like, wow, like how,
Because you're figuring out, like, you're doing something, but how can I figure that thing out? So while you're going through that, you're trying to connect that. Like, how are you doing that? Are you reading any books? Are you going to any seminars or anything to try to figure that out?
Not at this stage. This was more me kind of watching, television, but I was watching a lot of documentaries on, US military, Navy SEALs. I was watching a lot of elite military stuff. Yeah. So this is when I stopped the drinking and I started training again. And I said, I'm going to join the army. So it was more inspiration from documentaries with US military and things like that. That's when
I always noticed that a lot of people sometimes are fascinated with the U.S. And, from a guy who comes from the U.S., I don't really sometimes look at it as like this big thing. But did you have a lot of respect for the U.S. military?
Yeah. And for me, man, this is like an intuition thing for me. And I really don't know why. Like on my 5 life goals now, because I listened to a podcast from Tim Ferriss with and every day you write down your 5 blessings, and you write down your 5 life goals. Wow. And you put them on your mirror where you brush your teeth, you put them on your fridge, and you put them in a door where you walk in and out of every day. So you're subconsciously seeing your life goals and the things you're grateful for every day. Wow.
And you're doing that every day?
Now, yeah. And one of mine is to move to Los Angeles right now.
No, I've been to L.A. Now, I've been downtown L.A. And I'm just downtown LA smells like this. I smell like people who live on the streets. It just all in my nostrils. Why L.A.? Is it because of the Kardashians?
Nah, man. To be honest, I believe it comes back to my first Tupac CD. Like oh,
that song. He has a song. Keep going.
And this fascination I have with the US, and then so it's come from Tupac, then Eminem, and then like the Navy SEALs, and just you look at America and there's like there's so many key entrepreneurs based in the US. It's where it's all happening. And there's a saying that I live by, I believe, and it says if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. So now my challenge to myself, and if you look, I've actually got a big motivation poster right here with the New York skyline. And it says, all things are possible to him who believes.
Wow.
And it's got New York.
So you got to thank Tupac at the end of the night. Because he has a song, I forget the title, but it's something about L.A. He has songs about
To Live and Die in L.A.? To Live and Die in
L.A. And then he has
California
another
Love?
song that he did with
California Love? Yeah, California Love.
California Love.
Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So you felt that spirit about New York. If you could succeed in New York, you could succeed anywhere in the world. And maybe a few places that you've been since you've been an entrepreneur.
Okay, so where did I go? Where have I been? So been to the Philippines, been to Mexico, been to LA, been to America 3 times. Where else have I been? I went to Singapore. My last trip was to Singapore. I went for an e-commerce world summit.
Yeah.
Prior to that, I was in the Philippines because I've got some business over there in the Philippines. I've been to America 3 times. I'm actually going back to next month. I'll be back in America next month.
Really?
Yeah, I'm coming over for Grant Cardone's 10X GrowthCon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's vibrating at that level right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was kind of snooping around on your Facebook, and I saw, gotta giving myself away here. And you had this suit on, and it looks like you were actually doing speeches and things in different countries. And you had I think the suit was brown. So you went from like you had your shirt on like this, and then next you know you're like in this suit and you're doing the seminars. Like, were you like a speaker?
No, I wasn't a speaker at that event. That's something that I've started to do a little bit of speaking. I'm starting to really, that's something that I want to move towards, in the next kind of 5-10 years.
Yeah.
My first and foremost, I want to build big companies, because I want to walk my talk, at the end of the day. And that's just a personal thing for me. No, I never ever, hate on anybody else trying to do their thing. It's just what I'm trying to do before I really go into the speaking thing.
Okay, so what do you want to be in 5 years, Marty? Do you want to be the next Gary Vee? Do you want to be your own version of Gary Vee? Do you want to be better, bigger? Like, what is your thought pattern?
Well, so, I at the end of the day, man, there's us, there's only ever going to be one of us, one of you, one of me, and one of whoever. So all I want to do is, is just be me and reach my full potential and become the biggest and best version of myself. I really feel like this year, I've been in business for, close to 4 years full time now. I really feel like things are really starting to come together for me. I'm just really focused. Next 5 years, dude, turning over, tens of millions of dollars in sales, really impactful. I want to make impact. I want to win. I want to empower. I want to enable change. I want to not motivate. I want to inspire people like me who might be struggling, but I want to make change. I don't just want to motivate them.
Yeah.
Build my company out, man, make it a worldwide, take it to, launch it and make it successful in America, travel the world and just keep doing what I'm doing, but on a much, much bigger and larger scale.
Do you speak at events now? Like, are you getting a lot of, publicity? Like people are like, hey, Marty, come speak at our event. Are you getting that type of attention?
Well, to be honest, brother, the thing is, man, I've actually really kind of pulled back on that. Bro, I'm in the trenches hustling, executing at the moment. I'm building and I do the personal brand and my groups and all the stuff you kind of might see me do. That's just out of passion. That's just kind of the old, trying to inspire people or inspiring people. This phase at the moment, dude, I'm executing in the trenches, man, and I'm growing. We've got we've had so much growth in the business, dude. We're growing at such a large, aggressive scale.
Wow.
Dude, so a lot of my job now, a lot of what I've been doing is, I'm hiring new staff, systems, processes, and, building that machine, and also empowering my team and developing my team so we can scale out.
Wow. So this is no joke. You're going to visit Grant Cardone, but you're going to be Grant Cardone here pretty soon.
Well, brother,
I can see that.
Well, I appreciate that, man, and and that's the level I do want to get to. I remind myself, and Grant, I love Grant, dude. I only follow about 4 or 5 people. I don't want to take in too much information. I have 3 or 4 authority figures for different things. Yeah. There's so much information out there, and you don't want to take too much on, in my opinion.
Now, explain what you just said, because that's very important. What you just said. Why don't you want to take on too much information?
Because then you're going to be taking on so many different opinions, and you're going to kind of be questioning yourself and questioning what you're doing. You've got to have your own North Star, your own vision, your own intuition, because I find sometimes it can be quite conflicting. For example, Yeah. For example, I'll give you an example. So Tim Ferriss talked about not building a personal brand.
Not building a personal brand. Explain
In terms of building your company first, building something first, and then you're naturally going to get people that will hire you for speaking engagements because you've built something big. You've built something that people want to know how. On the contrary to that is, say, for example, building the personal brand first, getting the attention, and then you can, once you've got the attention, then you can sell people or give people products or services or do it that way. And that's what I found a little bit. I'm like, well, do I build up my personal brand or do I focus on not putting out content and just focus on being a practitioner? So see how that's what conflicted me a little bit. I'm like, shit, what do I do?
Wow. Okay. So you have a blueprint somewhat. You know what you're doing. When you get up in the morning, you know what you have to execute in order to bring the type of wealth that you want into your business and your life.
Yeah. And dude, and one thing, man, is that I've really learned in the last, is just pushing the boundaries on our mind. Because that's the one thing that's limited me, man. Because it's like now our mind naturally limits us due to the abundance or the success we can have. Like I used to think doing, well, it is $3,000 a day in sales is, it's good. But to me, that so I don't want to. I'm not saying this out of a disrespect to anything because I'm spending a lot of. To me, that was like a really big out of like when I got told that one of my competitors was doing 80 grand a month a couple of years ago. I'm like, no way, no. I'm like, I couldn't believe it. My mind couldn't fathom it. I couldn't believe it. Now, I'm doing those kind of numbers and it's like, but it was my mind 2 years ago it was limiting, it was such a big thing. But now it's very realistic, dude. I'm trying to go much bigger than that.
Oh, okay. Now, I heard you say your competition. You've really raised yourself to the limit where you're doing those kind of numbers?
Well, yeah. Now I am, yeah. If, and the thing is now juggling because I've got no venture capital. Everything's self-funded. I sold my car when I left the military and I saved up $6,000. I sold my car. So every bit of capital, every bit of product that I buy, every bit of inventory is paid out of my own back pocket.
Yep.
And I've gone from zero, to over 7 figures and it's managing and the cash flow. And that's where I'm at now is building more of a vehicle, not being so reactive and now building systems, processes and really thinking how we're going to go from 1 to 10.
Yeah.
And then from 10 to 100.
Well, yeah. Wow. So my mind is going a blank, but it's something there because now you're making this money from your clothing brands and other endeavors and things you're involved in. Now, are you invested in real estate or are you trying to diversify your income or you?
Not at this stage. And look, I've never really real estate is what I love property. I love nice houses. So listening to Grant Cardone, I feel like that the phase I'm in is not that investing stage. What I'm trying to do is build cash flow and build assets in the company. Something that where I want as much cash flow as I can at the moment to scale from 1 million, 2 million, 3 million to 10 million.
Okay.
To buy more inventory.
Yep.
Grant Cardone made an interesting point. He says, no one should be investing, and this isn't my views or my opinions. This is what Grant said.
Yeah.
Based off Warren Buffett's principles of always protect your money. Rule number 1, always protect your money. Always keep your money. Rule number 2, never forget rule number 1, he says. What Grant said was, unless you've got $100,000 in the bank, put away, you have no right to be investing in property, crypto, anything else.
Wow. That's the first step you're supposed to be doing, yeah.
You've got to keep investing in yourself, your own education, your own learning how to make sales, learning how to make money, Keep reinvesting everything into you until you've develop your own money-making machine, being you or me, that can produce 100K cash flow.
Got it.
At that point, then you diversify, then you compound that, and then turn that 100 into 200, 500, a million. So that's his fault. So I'm more inclined of, look, I'm trying to build companies, and I could sell one of my, say if I go sell one of my companies in the next 2-3 years, I would never sell Mage Status, just for the record. If I sold one of the other companies, that could be valued at, $5 million, $3 million.
Totally.
And then I've got that cash, then that's my rock hard cash.
Yeah. So I see what you're doing. Like, you want to build a foundation first before you go off and do these things. Make sure that's set before you do something else. That's smart.
Yeah.
Wow, man. So I'm surprised. Well, it's going to happen. But once you get to the status, which you seem like to me, you've already made it to the status. Pretty soon, then you're going to start getting the speaking engagements. They're going to be calling you.
I'm excited for that. And that is one of my goals, man. And the reason why it's one of my goals, dude, is because I want to impact people, man.
Because you have a story.
Yeah. And the more involved I get with my community, and the more that starts to build out, I'm starting to see a trend with what's stopping people, myself included.
Wow. A trend of what's stopping people.
Yes. Right. A lot of it's mind. I would say, like, people want to know how to do Facebook ads. People want to know the strategy. People want to know how to get the money. But people, are they prepared to deal with the stress, the criticism, every time that, if you want to make it up to the big levels, there's a level that you have to be prepared to handle, and everybody wants the money and everyone wants that, but they're still caring, they're caring what people think. They're looking to other people for approval. One of the questions was, how do I back myself when no one else believes in me? One of the questions is, it's all based around that same pattern. One of the questions I got in the group was, how do you stop caring what people think and not get camera shy?
I'm feeling what you're saying in that one. And not get camera shy. Because think about it. If you seriously want to be successful, you forget about, like you said, you forget about your surroundings. It's not about what people think of, because most of the people that are thinking about you are probably not even making any money.
That's exactly right. Dude.
It's like you're on another level. And I could already tell that you were trained for this level when you were a young kid, and even now as an adult. You're basically doing the same thing that you were doing then. You're doing it now, but on a bigger scale. Yeah,
and where my mind's at today, I'm ready for some big stuff, man. Like, I know we're not playing. Dude, I'm looking at strategies, dude, to increase my marketing budget today, man. I'm spending thousands a day on Facebook ads at the moment, but I'm looking to start really, I've got a big campaign being released in the next few months, man. I've got my best days in terms of sales are literally a couple months away, because I'm coming out way more aggressive and I've got way more strategy. So mindset is fundamentally and focus. I've got my own personal principles. However, on the contrary to this, when you hang around, one of the guys I met in Singapore, he's from Chicago.
Wow.
Yeah, he's one of my good dudes. He's in my little inner circle. He's been giving me some little pointers here on the Facebook ads, and hanging around people, and it can be just a little tweak sometimes, can make a really big impact.
I agree. But hold on, let's talk about this gentleman. So he's in Singapore, but he's from Chicago.
Yeah.
So is he living in Singapore now, or is he just visiting?
This is for the e-commerce world summit.
Ah, he was there for the e-commerce world. Okay.
Yeah, we had people from all over the world: Russia, Ireland, Canada. He was from Chicago, so it attracted quite a lot. And I've become friends with a lot of these guys, and I've actually cut away a lot of my kind of, like you said, when you start hanging around other people who are. Like, I thought doing, no disrespect, because it is, 3K a day is a good day, 6K is an amazing day. when you're hanging around people that are 5 years younger than you, that are doing 25 to 30 grand sales a day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm out with these guys having a few beers. I'm like, fuck, are you serious?
Well, you're making great money. So you're telling me that the guy from Chicago is giving you some pointers. What kind of money is he bringing in per day?
Well, to be perfectly honest, and I don't want to speak about his business too much. I'm sure he won't mind. I'm good friends with him. And what we talk about, we talk about mindset a lot in gym. So our friendship is we talk about a lot of different things now. Mm-hmm. And businesses will go up and down. You know, that's natural. You know, there's that natural flow of business. You know, there's good and bad days. You know, some days I go really good and some days not so good. But he was doing, you know, that he does very, very, you know, very big numbers and younger than me. And when you're listening, and that's where ego, you know, I'm speaking to someone that's 5 or 6 years younger than me. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, and once again, it comes back to the point, my mind limits me, man. I could be caught up in my own ego going, man, you're killing it. You're doing 3 grand. You're doing 4, 5, 6 grand. You're doing so well. I catch on a plane to Singapore and I'm like, fuck, these guys are doing this.
Well, okay. One thing about becoming successful is when you solve the problem and money starts coming in, a lot of the times it's hard to get out of bed the next morning, right? So you to a point where you're like, you could literally just sit back and kind of relax a little bit, but something is not keeping you, something's keeping you from not doing that. What is keeping you from not being that guy that wakes up at 12 o'clock in the morning? In the day, in the noontime.
Man, it's becoming that inspirational, you know, becoming that speaker, writing a New York Times bestseller. It's building my company to the level that I've got dreams for. It's, you know, we're in the grand scheme of things, dude, we haven't broken into the US market by any means, you know. There's a lot of untold business, dude. And, you know, and I've got complacent before, like you said, when the money starts coming in, it's so easy to get complacent and start sleeping in. But bro, I'm up today. I was up at 4:30 a.m. I'm up, man, like I'm broke, dude. I'm up in the gym, dude. I was finished in the gym by 6 a.m., man.
So I like what you said. You're up like you're broke again. So you definitely have to project like this is good now, but I was once here, so I have to forget about all those games. Like that's one of the things I heard. Grant Cardone actually had a video with somebody. It was a guy who made, I think he was making like $100 million. And he had to get rid of his money. He like start over, meaning like take it and invest it somewhere. And now I'm starting from zero again, just to get that mindset to keep it on that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Sorry, bro. Yeah, just to answer your question, man. Like my mum called me up, dude, and my mum works, you know, she works her ass off now, dude, in a bar, and you know, bro, she's still working her ass off, man. So what motivates me, dude? Like one of my 5 life goals is to buy my mum a house.
Wow. See?
So, dude, like a lot of what I do, bro, to be honest, man, and this isn't a play for the camera or nothing, a lot of what motivates me, man, you look at my 5 life goals, dude, there's not much of it for me, man, to be honest.
Really? It's somebody else?
Well, I want to become, you know, a well-renowned international speaker because I want to impact others. You know, I want to make that difference. I want to write a New York Times bestseller because I want to make impact. I want to buy my mum a house. There's only really 2 left. Like on my desires, like 'cause on my goal setting list, you know, I wrote down my desires for the year. You know, admittedly, some of them is I'd like to, you know, a bit materialistic, but a lot of it's not, man. A lot of what motivates me isn't the real fancy stuff.
Well, okay. Now, I've had some problems and some good things in this area. And we call it in the U.S. a first lady. Is there any lady that's behind the Marty machine that is helping you stay focused and get out there and get it? Is there anything like that?
Oh, bro, man, this is going to be on the internet forever, dude. I'm going to be careful what I say, man. Man, I have met someone recently. You know, she's a go-getter herself, man. She's lives in Australia, but she's Persian, she's Middle Eastern, and yeah.
I already, yeah, keep going.
Yeah. She's working in real estate, man. She's got a lot of faith. You know, she's very driven, degree in psychology, man, and she's learning English. So she's very driven, dude. And you know, but I've been single for a very long time, dude. I've been very focused, very laser focused, man. And I don't want to talk too much about my beliefs on marriage and that because, you know, it's irrelevant. But at the end of the day, man, you know, I'm on that mission. I want to buy my mum a house, and I'm very, very focused because it's just, dude, I just feel like this is my life purpose, man.
Yeah, I feel you. So you don't want anything to derail you. You want to just stay right there.
Yeah. I can't have anything, you know, I don't want anything to bring my energy levels down too much. You know, I've got to stay laser focused. You've got to have that laser focus, dude. You've got to know what you want, what your ideal life looks like in 5-10 years. And that's not to say, and I want to be very clear, I wake up every day, man, and I'm grateful just to wake up, bro. Like,
wow.
Like, dude,
I can see the eyes, man. You're not playing around here. This is you know, I was watching, it was a late night, I want to say a Facebook Live for Tim Ferriss. And somebody asked him that same question. Tim Ferriss, like, you know, I would say he's probably in his 30s. You have a lady? And he was like, nah, I don't have a lady friend right now. And this guy's traveled all over. He's probably a definitely one of the top eligible bachelors. But he seems like he has that same thing. He's laser focused. He's not worried about that right now. He's worried about his main thing. Yeah.
The reason, because to take it back a step, how I was able to focus, and I get unfocused sometimes as well, but it's because I know the type of person I want in my life. I got this off Tony Robbins. I actually wrote down the characteristics. I wrote down what they look like. I wrote down what their personality would somewhat be like.
Yeah.
And
wow.
And if you look at what I wrote and what the Persian girl, it's pretty much spot on. So.
Well, okay, so now that we went there, sometimes for men, we kind of have a childlike view of a woman, like, oh, she has a nice bottom, you know, the top is good, or whatever, you know. we just have a few characteristics, but you seem like, no, I want the whole package. I want not just beauty, but I want beauty in success, and she has to be driven, and all of these things, and I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, well, dude, it comes from trial and error, because what had happened, man, I'd dated certain people, and really, really cool people, but what I found, man, is they would get, when I'm not focusing on them and I'm focusing on my business, and I'd notice when I'm around them, my energy levels would decrease, and I just wouldn't feel happy.
Really?
So I'm like, this isn't serving me, unfortunately, and I've got to put myself first, because I've got to love myself first. Before I can do anything good, I need to love myself first. And when I'm like, and if you start fighting, you know, and that's a negative emotion in itself. And then I'm trying to work and build an empire, but my mind's elsewhere and I'm feeling like shit.
Yeah.
We all have bad days, but if it's a pattern and a trend, you've got to break that pattern, don't you?
You know, I like what you said about loving yourself first. When I saw, and I think I reached out to you too, when you were smoking on those cigars in the Philippines. Did you fly there for a weekend, or did you fly, like, what were you taking, like, I want to just take a lone trip? Like, what were you doing there?
Bro, I was there on business. I've got staff there.
Oh, you do? I have you. I got you.
Okay, so I was there meeting my team. We ran a senior team management leadership 3-day event. That was just a coincidence that one of my friends, he's dating a Filipino girl, and he took me out, and that's when we had the cigar in one of the bars. That was one night. So there was a lot of work I was doing. I like how we keep bringing out this cigar. That was one photo.
Hey. That was a good picture, by the way.
Yeah, cheers, man. And then I actually took my team on their first ever flight. They'd never been on a plane before.
Oh, so they were in another part of the Philippines, so you took them there.
Well,
Wow.
no, well, they met me in Manila and we worked really, really hard and did a lot, and they've been working really hard. So then we actually caught a domestic plane to the third island, which is this really beautiful part of the Philippines, very resort. So we went down there as a team and did more leadership. We shot heaps of content, and that was the first ever flight. So we did that as a team.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
And I've actually taken them, I actually just took them overseas recently. They came to Singapore with me. They'd never been overseas. Yeah, I flew them over and they'd never been overseas before, man. So like I said, a lot of what I do is, I'm reinvesting into my team as well. And yeah.
Well, I want to say, man, as we're wrapping up here pretty soon, again, I want to thank you for your time that you've given us. But it seems like you're the type of guy that takes care of his team. You believe in making sure that they feel good also, not just you. And I think that's powerful that you're doing that. And I think at the end of the day, they'll work harder for you.
Yeah, and it's a fine line, man, to be honest with you, because I feel like it's like in the military, dude, you don't want to be complimenting someone all the time, right? So when you give a compliment, you want them to know that they actually did a really good job. Mm-hmm. So this year I'm kind of mixing up a little bit. I'm not saying I'm an arsehole or anything, but I'm coming out and I'm being a little bit more Michael Jordan, a bit more, we're a little bit more fire this year, man, to be honest with you. And that's come from Michael Jordan's personal coach around 10 years. He just released a book. And
I already know what book you're going to talk about. Relentless?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a beast book. That's a great book. A lot of people don't know about the guy, by the way.
Yeah, well, I've only just come across him, bro. And so, dude, I said, look, I said to my team, as I'm growing, and I said, like, at the end of the day, we're on a mission here. We're here to achieve big things, and we're going to achieve things in the next 5-10 years. And the team needs to meet a standard now. We've got to raise our standard. And, and I said, anything else, unfortunately, there'll be warnings and stuff, but unfortunately, it's business and it's competitive and we've got a mission to do. And that comes first. So, yeah, it is. And they know, and I love them and I support them and I want them to win. I want them to reach their own personal goals. I want them to have goals. I want them to have an abundant life. I want them to achieve everything through the company. I want them to achieve all that. But for that to happen, we need to achieve big things.
You do. I agree. Wow. So what's the next trip you're planning? Where are you going next?
Okay, so I'm going to Vegas.
Okay.
That's where the growth con is. Mm-hmm. Grant Cardone. And then I go 2 or 3 days later, I go down to San Diego.
Okay.
And I'm going for a really, really big social media event.
Okay.
I'll be shooting content in America and over there. Then I'll be coming back and then I'll be going, back into the hustle. But so that's the only trip planned so far. So for this far, but wow. I'm sure I'll be on a plane somewhere later in, and and I've got a trip to China as well.
Oh, you're going to China?
And Hong Kong, yeah.
Oh, that's my spot right there, Hong Kong. I love that city.
So I've got to fit that in. I've been meaning to go. I've got to go meet up with some of our suppliers and factories and, really build that. We're starting to spend quite a lot of money. And so I've got to get over there as well.
Wow. Good for you, man. Good for you.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, let me ask you, man, since you're a guy that cares a lot about people, for somebody out there who's like, look, I'm tired of working this job. I'm tired of getting up. I'm tired of fighting traffic. I want to just make it. I want to do it. What is your advice to them?
So the first thing I would say is just being mindful of your mindset, because the mind, you're capable of so much bigger than what you think you currently can achieve. I promise you that. You're just be aware, be mindful of that. Whatever you think you're capable of, you're capable of way more than that.
Wow.
The second thing I would say is you need to get a game plan together. You need to get a game plan, a roadmap, a strategy. So work out where it is you want to be 5 years or 12 months. Let's say 12 months. Work out where it is from 12 months you want to be. What does your life look like? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are your desires? Map that out and actually draw it out. And then work out, if that's where I am here and that's where I want to be, what's the game plan? What's the strategy? What's the roadmap to bring that to life? So each quarter have the KPIs set. What do I need to be hitting each quarter to make that a reality?
So you're saying actually visualizing?
Yeah, that's what I do anyway.
Wow, good for you, man.
When I meditate, yeah.
What was that last part?
Oh, when I meditate, dude, I visualize and I try, because not to get too technical, but you want to visualize yourself achieving those things and feeling the emotions of what it's like to achieve that.
You just said something very powerful. Why is it so important to feel the emotion behind it?
Because the subconscious will then, that's how we kind of talk, not to get too airy-fairy, but the subconscious will then come up with a strategy and a plan to start to naturally materialize that. And the universe knows your intent. Everybody, then they know it's like, okay, this is what this guy wants and this is what he believes he can become.
Yep.
He believes it. So now let's come up with a strategy. Let's start to work it out.
Wow, that's powerful. Now, Marty, I want you to tell everybody where to find you, how to find you, where you look, where you hide. Let's let the crowd.
At the moment, man, the best places is my Facebook is Marty Cornish. Would be my
spell it, please.
Marty Cornish, Cornish. My Instagram is Marty_made status, MADESTATUS, made status. And then if you add me on Facebook, I will then add you into my personal Dream Chasers group. And I give out a lot of mindset, a lot of strategy, and bring the fire on the daily. So that would be where the best place, man.
Wow. Okay. Well, Marty, man, I want to thank you, man, for taking time out your day. Hold on for a second after we get done here. A few questions for you. But thank you again, man, for coming out and blessing us with your advice.
No worries, man. I hope it added some value to somebody. And guys, please leave a comment, man. I'd love, if anybody, anyone watches this, please leave a comment. I'd love to hear about your story or connect with you. So, I want to help as many people as I can. And thank you for having me, bro. It's been a pleasure. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, wouldn't have it any other way, man. Thank you for that. No problem.
God bless, bro. Cheers, man.
Cheers.